Hello, YouTube! I am Penstar, and this is Airport CEO Strategy and Tactics, Episode 3. So, in our last episode, we went ahead and got ourselves another 4 stands, and I've determined that that's about as many small General Aviation stands as a single double-use runway can handle. So, 1 runway equals 10 stands if being used for both takeoffs and landings. So, at this point, just plopping down more stands would cause more problems than it would generate for us in revenue, or at the very least it would just be rapidly diminishing returns and just get all ugly, and we don't want that. So we are going to shift gears here. So instead of going for quantity, since we've built up a healthy quantity of general aviation, let's go for quality. Now there's no, at the moment, way to attract larger or more lucrative general aviation aircraft to our field. That's just something you can't do. These little Cessnas are pretty much all you're going to get at the moment in the current version of the game. However, that doesn't mean we can't make a little bit more money off of them. Now, we already explored adjusting prices, but if we increase prices even more without decreasing something else, they're going to get upset with us. And then they'll stop coming and we'll have empty stands and less traffic and, well, less money overall. So allow me to introduce our next adventure here, gas. Specifically Avgas, fuel used by these little guys for to basically restock themselves. At the moment, we don't offer it. So they just come here knowing that they're not going to be able to refuel. They just use it for a place to park. We're going to change that. So we're going to get our gas lines set up. So first order of business here, we need to, well, basically, I guess, research or get the warrants for, or whatever the game wants to call them. Get the certifications for Avgas. So we need a procurement director. We're going to get the next person in our board here. So let's see what we can get here with our procurement directors. Luckily, the procurement directors tend to have much smaller salaries than the CFOs and others. And again, once again, I'd go with the cheapest only because I don't really see a huge impact on a person's skills on their abilities. That may change in the future. You may want to sniff around for specific skills in specific jobs, but for the moment, we're going to go El Cheapo here. Now that we have our procurement director, we can go and procure things. More specifically, procure technologies. So here we need to unlock the Avgas 100 LL fuel service. This is what allows us to start building the infrastructure required to, offer this. This does not give us the gas right away. We actually have to pay 50 grand just for the privilege of paying money to build the structures. It's sort of a double unlock here. But we have built up ourselves 71K here, and we will be making more momentarily. So we're going to go ahead and unlock this. It takes 2 hours, well, in-game hours, to unlock. So while that is cooking, we're going to turn our attention to the other aspect of Avgas. Now, the way Avgas works is you build a sort of a central fuel station and also a place for your vehicles to stay and chill while they're not in use. And we will be building those momentarily. But the other thing we need to do is we need to get up a road network so that our service vehicles, more specifically our refueling vehicles, can get to any of the stands here, because any of these stands could have airplanes that would require and are demanding fuel. So for that, we're going to go to our infrastructure and we want service roads. Now, there's a couple of different approaches when it comes to the service roads. First off, I can tell you right now, from what I've seen, there is no difference between the grass and concrete or asphalt as far as performance goes. So the min-maxer in me says use all grass. However, that being said, it's going to look really wonky down the line if we build grass, and you have to tear up the road to replace it with concrete, unlike upgrading your taxiways to concrete taxiways, and that's going to get ugly. So you know what? I'm going to say we will spend the little extra to go with the concrete roads for the most part. There's one little strip where I'm going to go with the grass, and that's down here. More on why this specific thing in a moment here. But what we're going to do is we're going to place all of our stuff down first, and then we'll call the contractors to come build it. That's because you don't pay maintenance on stuff that hasn't been built yet. So by shelling stuff out and monitoring your money here, you can build out everything that you want. And not worry about maintenance fees on stuff that you're not going to utilize until you can afford and have placed down all the stuff that is going to make use of these roads and what have you. So this is a good way, another way of sort of using it as a planning tool. So you have a nice long strip of road right here. This basically will feed all of our stations like this. Now, we do need a place for the tanks themselves, as well as a holding spot for our vehicles themselves. So those are going to go actually right down here. We're going to need a little bit more cash before we can actually build up our vehicles, and we need our research to complete to build up, and also more cash to build up the tanks. But like I said, I'm holding off on building everything until I'm holding off on building anything until we can build everything. So in the meantime, we'll just fast forward and let our planes do their thing and make us some more scratch. Anytime now, boys. Thank you. Off you go. All right, so they're going to start vamoosing and taking off and landing, which will start spiking up our income and all that good stuff. Now, I think at this point we have researched our tanks. Yes, we have. So we also, in addition to having a vehicle depot in which to hold our gas tanker while not in use, we also need a fuel depot that will hold the fuel until it is needed. So both of these are going to be required before we can get this service up and running. This costs $25K, this costs $10K, and plus a little side purchase needed for the vehicle itself before we can really start offering all these goodies. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward the video here for a little bit until we build up our cash. See you on the flip side. Okay, so we've got ourselves $27K in the bank. We already plopped down our $10K vehicle depot. So all that is left is our Avgas fuel depot. Now, any of you who saw my original airport CEO video, the one I did as a Pinstar Plays First Impressions, saw me embarrassingly throw down my fuel depots and then surround them with fuel tanks. I can tell you right here, first and foremost, you do not need extra fuel tanks on Avgas. These little tiny Cessnas barely consume fuel as it is, and even when you go and refuel them, they're not going to be asking for much. And we're actually going to use that to our advantage. But but before we can do that, we are going to go ahead and call in our construction friends. And being that we've got honey bunches of construction, we're going to deploy all. Come and get 'em, boys and girls. Girls can be construction workers too. Oh, wait. Ah, crap. I forgot a critical component. I always do this. But that's okay. We can have them start building this and then build on our extra component here. So the other thing that you need, in addition to hooking up all of your different stands to each other, is you need to hook them up to the outside world, because in order to get fuel delivered to your fuel depot, it needs to come from the outside. So in order to get that going, what we're going to do is we need a vehicle checkpoint. The vehicle checkpoint functions as a barrier between your service roads and regular roads. And as you can see, the little, it's kind of hard to see at the moment here, but the little wrenches on the top there show which side is the service road. So this is going to sort of be mushed against our service road up here, meaning the little two dots right here are going to be for a non-service public road, which we will be drawing thusly. Or, well, not. We'll draw as much of this as we can anyway. We just need a couple more takeoffs and landings, and then we'll be all set. There we go. All right, now we're good. Now we're good. And that'll just get added to the stuff that our guys will be delivering anyway. Almost out of boxes. Troll boxes? No troll boxes. We're good. Dismiss all. Now, they've got the roads down pretty quickly here. We've got the vehicle depot down pretty quickly here. The fuel depot is going to take a little bit of time. It actually takes the longest of all the items that we're constructing here, but now it is ready, and we are ready. So the next component to getting your fuel delivery gambit up and running is to sign a contract with a fuel company. Now let's take a look at what we've got here. We've got we got Nature Fuel, and this is probably a duplicate here. Yeah, not the best price here, Nature Fuel, but we'll have to take it. The better price would be 0.004 per liter and 0.099 per liter for Jet 1A, or Jet A1, I should say. But we'll take what we can get. And ultimately, we're not looking to make beaucoup profits off of our fuel. Or rather, we're not looking to make it directly. So, we'll take what we can get. We'll upgrade to a better fuel provider, probably around the time we get Jet A1 fuel. Right now, none of our planes, all the General Aviation, they use Avgas exclusively. See, fuel level Avgas. Avgas, they're all Avgas. So basically, General Aviation equals Avgas. Commercial flights equals Jet A1. So the last piece of the puzzle here is to go into our economy procurement, and we need to actually get ourselves an Avgas delivery fuel truck. This does not cost very much, $1,500. I wish I could get a truck for $1,500. But whatever. Not that I have any use for a fuel truck, but still, I could commute to work with it if it was that cheap. All right, so here's our delivery of the Avgas from Nature Fuel here. So they are filling up our main depot tank. Now, what's going to happen here is our delivery van for our fuel truck. It's going to swing by here. It's going to pick up fuel. And now, with it having fuel, we can turn on Avgas. We now offer that as a service. Now, not every plane will be requesting Avgas as a service. And our truck will automatically respond to those that do. And when there are no planes left for it to respond to, it will just return itself home and wait for somebody else to request its services. Now, speaking of requesting its services, or more specifically, paying for the services, we need to do a little tinkering with our price here. All right, so see, the plane just landed. This plane wants its fuel. This comes by here. It hooks up, and the fuel in the plane is going to gas up. Now, there is one thing to note here. The planes, unlike gassing up your car at a gas station, generally don't want to fill up the tank completely. and watch this completely deny. What? Yeah, this is gonna. Aha! See, he stopped before he got to full. It's rare that you see a plane get itself fueled all the way up to full. Sometimes they just want a little sip. They just want a little glance, want us to soak a rag in Avgas and just wave it in their general direction for how much fuel they're asking for. And also, whether or not they're requesting it does not always correlate. There might be someone, say this guy only bought it filled up to 74%. There might be someone that limps in here with like 23% fuel, and they're like, nah, I'm good. I can make it to the next stop. Now, that being said, all said and done, even if you get a big fill up, they don't really require that much in the form of avgas. They don't suck a lot of fuel. Therefore, you don't sell a lot of fuel. Ooh, nice usage on the runway today. Good job. So you're not going to make the big bucks from Avgas. In fact, it's going to take you forever to make back your investment for the $50K to unlock Avgas, plus the $25K for this, plus all the roads. It would take us forever to make back our investment. So why did we even bother? I'll show you why. And that goes back to our pricing, our good friend, the pricing sliders. So if we go to our budget here, now, Avgas is something that you can set the price to. And yeah, it's $2 right now. What if we made Avgas dirt cheap? Like almost free. Like I'm not really willing to part with this for that, but being that we pay 0.005, we're still making double the profit, even though that's a piddly tiny bit on the sale of the fuel. But now our General Aviation factors this in to its pricing analysis, meaning we can crank up prices elsewhere to sort of account for this cheap gas. So, whoop, aircraft landing fee goes to maximum. Unfortunately, you can't go any higher, otherwise I would. And we can bring the parking fee almost up to where it was. And we're still not going to get angry people because they're like, oh man, look at the deal on that Avgas. That's such cheap gas. You just have to pay a lot of money to land on here to get that cheap gas. Now that would be an interesting pricing model. Gas stations give away gas for pennies per gallon, but you have to pay a big fee just to get into the gas station. Be an interesting pricing model, but it certainly would work out for. It's going to work out for us. Not sure how that would work in real life, but that is how we're going to do it here. So let's go ahead and fire up our speed here so that we can get back to business and see what our profit level is going to look like now that we have our Avgas boosted revenues here. Now it's usually there's a weird thing where if there's a weird weather condition, it will stop the what is it doing here anyway? It's raining. That's all it is. It's not even extreme weather. Which, by the way, the developer has said that extreme weather isn't in the game yet. You know, dense fog banks, hurricane level winds, that sort of thing. They're not in the game yet, so you don't need to worry about disasters striking your weather related disasters striking your airport. But it's coming. It's coming. Oh, it's coming. But for the time being, I think we're in good shape here. See, even the nightly rate, which is half the normal of the daily rate, we're still getting significantly more cash coming in just from the parking fees. We're going to get even more from the takeoff and landing fees. And when people park here during the day, we're going to be getting quite a bit, $23 a tick now. So this is really going to goose up our income. And none of it's going to be coming from the Avgas directly, but the presence of the Avgas, the fact that we offer this as a service, now allows us to make it cheap and therefore make everything else a bit more expensive and still have happy sailors in the General Aviation department. Look at that smiley face. They're happy. They like the cheap gas. They like it a lot. And yeah, our truck is going to be popping around with 0000. Those are all rounded down. We're not giving away free fuel, but it might as well be free at the price that we're giving it out. But that's okay. That's okay. Our cash levels are higher than they were previously, so we should be rebounding our revenue up even faster and, well, basically making back our cost of investment in the form of higher prices pretty darn quickly. But we still need to grow onwards and upwards, as it were. And General Aviation, at least for the time being, is going to be our main source of income. But we need to expand it. And in order to expand it even further, we need more stands. And as previously determined, in order to host more stands without creating a traffic nightmare, we're going to need more runways. So, in our next episode, we will be investigating an ideal 2-runway setup. Between now and then, I'll just let the simulation cook a little bit until we have enough for our new runway, and then we can turn things up a notch and make even more money. And again, this is all just from General Aviation. Don't worry, folks. We will be flipping the things on their head and getting into commercial flights and the wonderful, wonderful sources of revenue therein soon enough. So, if you like this episode and you want to see more like it, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and leave me a comment, good, bad, or indifferent. Your feedback is always welcome. So until next time, this has been Pinstar, signing out. See ya.